I am not going to see Boy Kills World. Again. You probably didn't ask why I'm not going to see something I've already seen and despised, but let me tell you anyways. When I went and saw Monkey Man, there was a trailer for this, and it was painfully clear that they revised a significant amount of the movie in a small but crucial way. It felt completely different from the movie I saw at TIFF, and all I can think of was, wow, they somehow made it even worse. So think of this as a George Lucas special edition of a review, where I add in graphics, clips for context, and also fill in some gaps on the things that I think they've changed.
Okay, let's get this review over with. Boy Kills World. Should probably let the audience know that Boy Kills World is not a military school sequel to Boy Meets World.
Private Matthews, we meet again. Detention? I prefer to call it the latrine.
It stars Bill Skarsgard as a deaf and mute orphan who was trained since childhood by a shaman played by Yayan Ruhian to revenge the death of his family in a dystopian future where this one rich family has authoritative control over this home... town? Country? I don't know. I'm not even convinced the filmmakers have any idea. Boy Kills World is part of what TIFF calls Midnight Madness, which is essentially the B-movie section. So when I read Bill Skarsgard, jacked out of his mind, was in a martial arts movie as a deaf assassin trained by Yayan Ruhian of the Raid movies of all things, I thought this was going to be a dumb but fun action movie that's super stylized, and Skarsgård gives a stoic, silent but deadly performance. It's, stylish. This should have been a mindless popcorn flick, but Boy Kills World is trying so hard to be The Hunger Games, Kingsman, and Deadpool all at once, and it doesn't even know how to do any of them. Now, when you hear... When you see it... Oh, for fuck's sake. When there's a deaf character in a movie, do you expect there to be any voiceover narration of the character's inner monologues, where Skarsgård sounds like he's doing, honestly, a pretty spot-on Ryan Reynolds impression that he's never heard before because he's fucking deaf and mute, so how the hell is he imagining any of this? Is that what you want from a movie like this? Well, too fucking bad, because there are so many inner monologues that spell out his entire backstory, his relationship with every character he comes across, what emotions he's feeling at the moment, in case you seriously can't tell what he's feeling just by looking at him, because deaf people are supposed to be among the most expressive people imaginable.
Okay, so this is the big change that I noticed. In the original festival version I saw, yes, Bill Skarsgård's inner voice that he can't hear because he's fucking deaf was his Ryan Reynolds or Mark Wahlberg impression, because now that I look back on it, they both sound kind of similar. But now his voice is done by Jon Benjamin, and I know a lot of people are already going to say, well, what's wrong with that? It's Archer, it's Belcher, how do you go wrong? Here's the thing, in the festival version that I saw, Skarsgård did the stunts, the slapstick, the reactions to everything, the voiceover, it was all entirely his performance. And nothing against Benjamin, I'm not a diehard fan of his shows, but I've laughed a couple times, he is definitely talented, but this is going to take away significantly, in my opinion, from Skarsgård's performance because so much of the characterization relied on the inner monologues delivering exposition and inner thoughts about everything. Skarsgård was given no chance to actually act with his eyes, his reactions, his body language, all of that. To the point where really any actor could have done this performance and the voice is the one that really does most of the work. And because we know it's not really him talking, it does kind of take away from that in my view. And sure, Skarsgård did all the training for the stunt work doing shit that he really should have done in John Wick 4 if we're being honest, but at the same time, you could have swapped out any stunt actor who could have reacted to all the voiceovers, because really, anyone can give a face or a reaction to someone reading the script off camera. I mean, I proved that with these meditation videos, so it does make Skarsgård's entire casting seem completely pointless.
There were so many opportunities for this to be a visually told story, but nearly every line in the script is exposition that fills you in at the last minute or repeats shit that we were already aware of, especially when it comes down to the themes of this movie, because yeah, a movie called Boy Kills World has themes about how the wealthy are the true rulers in the world. Not that it isn't true, it's just that people have a tendency to pick and choose which million or billionaires to hate and who to pretend are perfectly responsible, ethical human beings who do everything right with no faults whatsoever. If Boy Kills World had the audacity to call out pretty much everyone who is rich, not the rich people who are fun to hate, I would commend them for actually committing to the message, but they didn't, so I won't. And I say a Ryan Reynolds impression on Skarsgård's part because the Deadpool comparison is the easiest one to make. Never mind that Bill Skarsgård got Fargo'd to death in Deadpool 2. Never mind that this is definitely an R rating that earned it. But most of the narration is being played up for laughs in a meta fourth wall kind of way. This movie where a kid watches people get massacred in front of him as a child and brutally trained to be a killer is actually a goofy comedy when we don't get flashbacks of his dead 8-year-old sister when she's not a goofy sidekick or a conscience. There's maybe one running gag where if someone's lips are too hard to read, fuzzy wuzzy was a womariska hargate.
Josh, that was for you. You're welcome.
That did get a bit of a giggle every now and then, but there are other times where his interactions with people feel like Marvel banter, especially with Andrew Koji. Dude did not shut the fuck up the entire time, and it was so insufferable to listen to him talk. And while I'm not against a hearing actor playing a deaf character, I mean, it is called acting for a reason. Thinking about it after the movie where this guy clearly has severe PTSD, and some of it like him saving someone who isn't there, like he literally jumps in front of people firing at what appears to be a little girl, and then it turns out he's just hugging air and exposing himself right in front of the open. The fact that PTSD is being played up for laughs in this is a little uncomfortable and kind of a mixed message. If the comedy in this wasn't on a Marvel or sitcom level of cringe, it probably would have been some creative dark humor, and I've seen mental illness being played up for laughs in a good way, but this isn't it, so yeah, not much else to say there. And it doesn't help that there are so many actors like Yayan Ruyan or Sharlto Copley who are basically extended cameos when their characters could have been so much more. All of Ruyan's lines are delivered off-screen because dude still can't speak fluent English, and for some reason he's not allowed to speak his own language.
Again, the fact that we dubbed over the main star of the movie, and yet we can't redub this guy speaking his original language. Also, admit it, you want to hear Archer or Belcher's voice coming out of this guy, kind of like they did with Wayne's World 2 while they're kicking ass. That would have been... Honestly, maybe I would have checked it out if they had done that.
I don't think I'm giving anything away when I say that Sharlto Copley dies. He's kind of becoming the new Sean Bean at this point. But the way that he died was so painfully obvious, and yet they draw it out anyways like we're somehow not anticipating it.
They literally ruin it in the trailer. They cut away right before it happens, and I'm just sitting there going, you just gave away the one good thing about this character. Like, what is wrong with you?
Why am I stuttering an inner monologue?
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. And it just killed the joke for me. Meanwhile, Ben Gelman gets a couple okay laughs as the underappreciated dictator family member, and Michelle Dockery, in a very unrecognizable role, is trying to play against type by being the most self-absorbed of them all, but their material, like I said, is Marvel or sitcom quality comedy, just louder and with more swearing to make people think it's edgier than it really is. Even this one henchman who communicates through a Daft Punk helmet. That sounds awesome, but it's barely utilized, and I kept forgetting she was even in the damn movie, even though there's a plot twist about her. I won't spoil, but in all honesty, it spoils itself so quickly. And the Kingsman reference might throw off people who have already seen it, but here's what I mean by that. The presenter before the show gave a really bad comparison where he claimed that the action in this was filmed in a Sam Raimi fashion with the Evil Dead tracking shots, something that we've never seen before, which is such bullshit. The camera work and editing in this is textbook Matthew Vaughn with the way the camera's always moving, whether it be a tracking shot, a 360, or a bit of both, and as kinetic and exciting as it can be, there were numerous times I wanted the camera to just hold the fuck still so that the people fighting aren't blurry objects and we can actually see the more brutal moments, because this is a pretty gory martial arts movie and the action itself was probably the redeeming quality for me. Skarsgård's awesome in the stun work. It made me wish he had done shit like this in John Wick 4. And there are kills, stabs, and slices that you don't normally see that make it absolutely shocking. There's one moment where a henchman literally keeps ripping off his limbs that get stuck and everything just so he could keep fighting. Sounds awesome, right? And it should have been. This movie should have been awesome. It should have been dumb, mindless fun, but like I said, it tries to be smart about things that it just doesn't know how to tackle, and altogether, this is just such a huge missed opportunity.
So at the end of the day, was this really necessary to redo? Yes and no. There are certain graphics, clips, and points that I should have made the original time, but I didn't because I didn't have the time, I didn't have the enthusiasm towards this movie. And at the end of the day, all the things that I mentioned in this video, I could be wrong about, but at the same time, when you see a full version of a feature and then you see an advertisement that is completely different and has new stuff in it, it's important to call out the differences and question whether or not it improves the film or not. So whether you've seen the festival version, the theatrical, or you like the movie that much you saw both of them, let me know in the comments below what you think of Boy Kills World. And in any case, thanks as always for watching, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe, check me out on Patreon and buy me a coffee, and be sure to stay tuned for more reviews. Take care.
I really got to get better at meditating because this is not relaxing whatsoever.